Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came. And they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily, I say unto you, I know you not. Watch, therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh.
There are certain inevitabilities with weddings. Costs will rise, the number of guests will increase, and brides will be late. Pretty much universal truth. I think the record for a bride being late in a wedding that I've been involved with is about 55 minutes, almost an hour. Imagine the poor groom. He was having kittens. In Jesus' day, the boot was very much on the other foot. It was the groom who kept the bride and everybody else waiting. And not just for a few minutes either. We talk about weddings being the best, the happiest day of your life. In Jesus' day, it wasn't the happiest day. It was the happiest week. The wedding party went on for days. Accounts of how weddings were conducted in Jesus' day are vague and opinions vary, but as far as I can tell, they usually started when the groom, escorted by his attendants, made their way through the streets to the bride's family home. They took the longest possible route to get there. It was a party atmosphere. They certainly weren't quiet about it. People came out to meet them and greet them. They sang songs and they cheered and gave them food and drink on their journey. When they arrived at the bride's home, there would be prayers and blessings, and the bride would be handed over to her attendants who would carry her in a litter. And they would all make their way back to the groom's family home, where there would be more prayers and blessings. But then the bride and her attendants would withdraw while the rest of the guests began the party, and party hard. They'd be singing and dancing, men and women kept apart separately. The following day, well, that was the bride's turn. The groom would be missing, and the bride would be there on show for all to see, and people would come and go during the day, bringing their gifts for the couple soon to be married. This would go on all day, and at no particular fixed time in the evening, the groom would arrive. And when the groom arrived, then everyone had to be ready. The bride had to be awake, escorted by her attendants, her makeup done, dressed to the nines, the attendants with their lamps lit, ready to welcome the groom. Then they would be married. And shortly after they were married, the couple would be escorted to their honeymoon suite, and the party would really get going. And the party would last for days. all very different to how we expect it. But that's the context in which Jesus told the parable. Literally, nobody knew when the groom was going to arrive. They didn't have a clue, but they had to be ready whenever he did. That's the point of the parable. It's about preparedness. It's about being ready. I'm sure, like me, many of you have heard interpretations of the oil and the lamps, how the lamp represents faith and the oil represents good works. To be ready to meet the Lord, we need both. We need to have faith and put that faith into practice by doing good deeds, living a good life. That's the context in which Jesus told the parable. It's all about preparedness. Literally, nobody knew when the groom was going to arrive and the wedding feast would really start. But everyone had to be ready for when he did. The gospel, the parable, is about being ready. I'm sure, like me, many of you have heard that parable focus on the lamps and the oil, the bridesmaids being ready. How the lamp represents faith and the oil represents good works. To be prepared to meet the Lord, we need both. Maybe so. But I'm not sure that we should be quite so specific, so literal in interpreting that gospel, that parable. Maybe its meaning is a bit more elusive and a little simpler. That there are some things we can't make up for at the last minute. Some things we can't obtain at the last minute. It's not about doing good deeds, but about becoming a good person. We might be able to rush around and give our money away to charity and leave our home to the dog's home, but it doesn't necessarily make us a good person. It's not just about believing in Jesus. It's about building a relationship with Jesus. We might be able to profess a faith, a creed, at the end of our days. But we can't make up for the opportunities to build that relationship. And maybe there's something in the bridesmaids who won't share their oil. There's some things we can't borrow from other people. We can't borrow their relationship with God. We can't borrow their character, their inherent goodness. These are things that we need to develop for ourselves. No, even these days, you never know when a bride is going to arrive and the wedding will begin. But you can bet that she will have done everything she could to make sure that all is prepared for when she does arrive.